Okay, so what we're going to look at now is a slightly more advanced strategy. Do you use oCPM or CPM? What do they mean? How do you leverage them? And in which situations or contexts should you be optimizing for CPM or bidding on oCPM? So let's take a look at both of these. Now, the best way for me to kick off this training is to put this in context next to something that makes a bit more sense to us all. So if for those of you that have been running Google Ads in the past, and even if you haven't, when you run ads on Google, you essentially have three options. You can choose search, display, or retargeting. Search is probably the most popular and the most powerful function of Google. Search is where it targets people that are actively in the consideration phase of a marketing funnel, right? Because they're searching online for information on where to purchase these products or where to find quotes on certain products. They're already deep in the marketing funnel. So it's a very effective marketing strategy. Display is more blanket marketing where you try to create the demand. You go out to a lot more people and it's frequency and you just try to trigger people to get them into the funnel. So if you think about it like that, Facebook essentially does exactly the same thing. The big difference between the two, however, is that in Google you have to pick between display and search, whereas Facebook will do this automatically. So it will switch between the two automatically, and you can also manually select it. So what we have here is oCPM and CPM, and what we can almost compare these two is CPM being the display version of Google, so blanket marketing, and oCPM being more of that search function. Now, make sure you watch the video on the Facebook algorithm because what I'm about to say next may not make sense without that context. But that search function in Facebook is what's using the expected action, right? So expected action, Facebook knows who will perform an action that you want to optimize for. And it knows that because it's reading your emails, it's following you online through the pixel and the metadata. It knows your activities, your interactions, your engagements, your affinities through your interactions on Facebook. And it's even listening to you through your phone, through Messenger. So it has a lot of data and it knows exactly who's about to perform certain actions or which people are more likely to perform a specific action over others. And again, that goes into the entire auction process, right? EA, expected action. So let me break this down and explain to you what oCPM means versus CPM, and then I'll show you situations on how to use these. So oCPM basically means optimized cost per milli, or optimized cost per 1,000 impressions. All that means is Facebook is optimizing for an action. Now that could be link clicks, conversions meaning purchases or leads or complete registrations, whatever that is, video views, paste post engagements, app installs. Essentially what you're doing here is you're launching your campaign and you're telling Facebook, I want to optimize for a specific action, and using all that rich data that Facebook has to optimize for that action. So again, it's a little bit like that search function that I was just talking about. On the flip side of this, we have CPM, which means cost per 1,000 impressions. And this is that blanket marketing I was referring to, that display blanket marketing, where you're essentially just bidding on reach or impressions. This strategy is really popular for big brands, and it's also a really good strategy if you're losing in the auction process, so your CPM is going up or your ads are stalling. Essentially what you're telling Facebook is, I want to get the best CPM price, so the cost per 1,000 impressions, and just optimizing for reach and impressions, not necessarily an action. So how do you know which one's using which? Well, if you look at your ad account, when you go to create a campaign, you'll see one column is called awareness, the next is consideration and conversion. Makes sense, right? So in the consideration and conversion stage, that's where we're optimizing. These campaign objectives use oCPM. Now, here's a caveat. They can also use CPM as well. So I'll show you what I mean by that as well. They can use both. On the first column, however, the awareness stage of that marketing funnel, brand awareness and reach campaign objectives use CPM only. So all the rest can use both. Awareness only uses CPM. So how do you set CPM or oCPM, right? Where does that take place and how do you know if you're doing what? Well, this happens at the ad set level. So if you scroll down at your ad set level when you're creating a campaign, what you'll see is under the optimization for ad delivery, it will by default typically be selecting the action. So video views, conversions, page posts, page likes, whatever that might be. Now, if you're selecting link clicks or conversions or the action, so page likes, page posts, video views, link clicks, that is using oCPM. It's optimizing for an action. Makes sense, right? However, impressions or reach is CPM because essentially all you're bidding for is reach and impressions, right? So impressions. So it's not actually optimizing for an action. It's just trying to get you the best CPM, so blanket marketing. So that's where you can select if you want to use oCPM or CPM. Now, which one should you use? Well, I've created a bit of a chart here with the help of Tom, and these are some of the blanket sort of tactical triggers that you can use to benchmark when to use which one. Now, typically, when you launch a new campaign and it's optimizing for an action, so whether that's trying to get page likes or purchases or anything like that, you always want to optimize for that action. However, there are instances where you may want to switch that. So here's some examples of this. If your ads have a really low click-through rate and a low CVR, now CVR stands for conversion rate, meaning you're driving lots of traffic to that landing page, but no one's really performing that action. No one's really liking your page. No one's really viewing the video. Then you kind of want to switch that away from oCPM to CPM. And the reason you want to do that is if you don't, your campaigns are probably going to stall or they're going to cost you a lot of money. Because Facebook's going to penalize you, right? In the auction process, you're going to be going up against someone that has much better click-through rate, much better relevance, much better CVR, and they're going to win above you. So your campaigns will either stall or they're going to cost you a lot of money. I included another column called Other Solutions here because this is one of the tactics that you can use to troubleshoot campaigns or to improve your bidding strategy, your optimization. However, one of the other things that you should be looking at here is if you do have low click-through rate and low CVR, you definitely need to be reviewing your funnel, so the landing pages, and also the targeting and your creative, trying to get that click-through rate up. If your ads have low click-through rate, but there's a good conversion rate, so you've only sent 6 clicks, the click-through rate is not that great, but of the 6 clicks, one person purchased, well, this is a good example of when you want to switch to a link clicks. Now this uses oCPM, right? Because it's still optimizing for an action. However, what you'll see under your ad delivery optimization options is link clicks is usually an option in there. And normally that's when you want to switch that, is when you have a low click-through rate but your CVR is good, so you essentially just want to drive more clicks, cheaper clicks to that landing page. And also you should be testing the creative and targeting here as well. If your ads have a good click-through rate and good conversion rate, then that's when you definitely want to be using oCPM. You want to get Facebook to optimize even more for that action. In the next training video, I'm going to take you through the whole best practice of how many actions or event triggers you should be getting in your ad sets per week so that you're properly optimizing your campaigns. And I'll explain why that's important and how it works in with the entire auction process.